Now, there are a lot of issues that we see emerging that technology, innovation, and the policy environment should have addressed already. Because as we speak, the government of Malawi is sending out youth to Israel to work in the farms. And in 2023 November, they sent out 221 youth. And the target is to send out 5,000 young people. And in Zimbabwe as well, a lot of people are crossing the rivers into Limpopo, South Africa, to get low-skilled jobs. And if you ask them, they say, we are going to Israel to work in farms because we don't have the skills. We don't have financing to do technology advancement in the green enterprises that we want to do. But also, we don't have the right capacity to even manage big investments, big ventures, because we are lacking. So I think it's genuine that they're going there to get skills, they're going there to get financing, but also to sharpen their approach to work, because maybe Israel has done it better. And I think it's the role of government to provide that policy framework. And so already the countries have started to advance that, because the Malawi Vision 2063 already speaks about promoting green entrepreneurship, green economy. But as we're speaking that already, we should have had strategies in place in terms of addressing that. So whilst we are looking at sending out exporting labor, which historically Malawi have been doing that since colonial times, we need really to stand up and speak as civil society, as donors, as government policy implementers, to ensure that we coordinate, because all of us have a check in terms of capacity that we can bring on the table. And so as young people, as Southern Africa, as South Asia, we're looking at how best can we then support them. Already we've seen that green businesses are now narrowing the gap in terms of social and economic inclusion. What I can say is what we have seen is that with the green innovations, it is helping to bridge that connection between young people and also women by ensuring that they break the barrier between women and youth to participate in economic development. But also a study that we did last year into this year, 2024, we were trying to review in terms of the progress that we've made as IM Southern Africa and economic inclusion in Zimbabwe. And from the study, we noted that young people were able to say, because of the green businesses that we're doing, because we're rearing chicken, because we're planting fruits and then we're selling the fruits, we've been able to address some of the social ills that were there in the communities. So for example, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Malawi, there is high rate of child marriage. So they were able now to use the resources from their business ventures to send needy girls into schools. But also, I think they're also trying to limit the time that young people are spending doing substance abuse, for example, drug and substance abuse. Now that time is now being invested into looking at ways to advance their businesses. So already you can see that instead of staying idle, doing something else, they're now using that time, investing it into their businesses, and already addressing the barrier that would have existed if the green entrepreneurship was not promoted in their localities.
There is a great use of digital technology in context of India, if we see, but most of the digital innovation has taken place in the market end. You have e-commerce, you have markets at the you can buy products at the click of a button now. But what we are looking, what will benefit marginalized youth in terms of technology is technology integration in actually setting up businesses, actually in technology innovation in generating business ideas, generating green business ideas, uh, creating innovation hubs which are closer to the ground, closer to the specifically in inaccessible rural areas where local problems can be solved through local solutions. Technology integration or digital technology can be a very good leverage there. Uh, getting globally connected. Youth are much more, easier to connect with other youth across the globe. I think digital technology can work excellently in that area in terms of building knowledge, in terms of exchange of knowledge, exchange of good practices. Investing in green businesses, the initial investment cost could be very high to comply with the green regulations. But technology could help in really uh, lowering the initial cost, and that becomes an incentive for the marginalized youth to set up green businesses. That becomes a motivation factor. Technology which is actually affordable and can be customized to the needs of the size of the green business that the disadvantaged or the marginalized youth wants to set up.
Green businesses are usually not existent as a very mature supply or value chains, right? We'll have to look into a more global perspective, how we can sort of facilitate those products to not just cater to immediate markets, but also go beyond. So that it becomes, because we're living in this global era of technology and whatnot, so we'll have to sort of give this opportunity to the people, to the youth that are in Nepal, and also if they are marginalized or in any other context in South Asia or South Africa, we'll have to sort of give them this leverage of a digital global village perspective, connection perspective, where they can sort of think that their products can go beyond their immediate market, which is not maybe yet ready for the products that they are putting out. So yeah, I think it's more in the upstreams, in skill development, in process understanding, and in downstreams, making the market more accessible to the people. In terms of investors, it's again the most challenging part to enter into a green business is the immaturity of the supply chain and the value chains that are out there. Uh, you are dealing with a lot of risks, and on top of that, you are dealing with a risk that the founders or the people that started it might, in a year or two, find it that it's taking a long time to innovate, and they might, migrate somewhere else. So that's always a risk that an investor looks at when you are sort of talking about a green business that is not the most demanded thing out there. So there's a lot of push that is required from the government, from the donors, and the and other partners that can support there. It's more not a pull market, I call it a more push market. So we'll have to help bridge this connection in the supply and the value and the market and everything, so that it becomes an easier platform to work with.
I would like to share our own example, what we have been working from last more than 5 to 7 years, and now we are seeing that startup or that business of which is led by the women only, and how that actually making the presence and the credibility in the community, and they are knowing and accepting the model of the green entrepreneurship or the woman-led value chain model. Collectively take the initiative. We collaborate with the agencies even the government agencies, non-government agencies, and some of the buyer also, who are actually buying these products from the cooperative. We also work on that, how we can actually have their own space where they can have that aspiration for at least 10 to 30 years that can work from there. Huge, I mean, there is a good amount of money and fund in the market, but they don't know how to utilize. They are getting money from the government, they are getting money from different different institution and all, but they don't know how to utilize that money, where they have to invest. Recently we had a one small discussion with the young entrepreneur in Uttarakhand. So they were saying, we came back from Noida, he was working in the corporate, and he came back to Uttarakhand, and he's starting his own business, agri business in Uttarakhand, but he doesn't know the FSSAI guideline in Uttarakhand, the compliance, where to go, where to register, how to sell, what kind of the information we have to put in the label, on the products. So that kind of knowledge they don't have. They have money, they got money from the government, I mean the loan and all, but they don't know this kind of things. And I think the government level, I mean, what I think, the government and the other entire ecosystem, we have to put the strong network and association of the entrepreneur and young people actually coming back to share some of the good. There would be some of the good example who actually started good business. There would be some of the thing which went well and had a failure also. So that gap and that knowledge should be shared with other young people actually who is trying to have and planning to do some business.
In my earlier, I just gave example of few models that other country has been following, and I think that our government has to be strong, well equipped, and come up with different plan and proposal, taking ideas from the entrepreneurs who are already involved in it and from the youth, make it very participatory, and come up with really nice packages and present it to the World Bank or the Climate Fund, or like climate in the many funders who are there, so who are there to trade, because we as a developing country, we are not much producing carbon, when in comparison to the, so we have a lots of negotiation power, so which we need to compile, and then present and get some low interest fund, longer term refinancing loans, and then trickle it down at the commercial level, the banking sector. The government should be able to give those loans to the commercial banks or to the government banks, to be able to give those loans to the entrepreneurs in a better rate. Today I see the lots of youth with lots of innovative ideas and all, but they are just for a short term period. They come, they approach, they become a startups, and they come with few energies, and after 4 or 5 years their business go down, it go boom, and they again start planning to go out and leave their business, and they close down their business. That's the trend that is happening. So government has to take quick action to minimize this. So government has introduced a startup loan, for some 50 lakhs or something. So there are few initiatives that government are taking, but I think the government should quickly look into these angles, how to motivate youth to stay in the country, to encourage them, to encourage their ideas. So I think there should be a little bit of a participatory approach from the government side. Even the youth should not just stay back and complain. They should come up and go to the government and say, this is our demand. Unless you raise your voice, no one will be heard. So I think there has to be a to and fro from both sides.
There's a book called Frugal Innovation. It has been written by Jaideep Prabhu. He's a professor in Cambridge, UK. He said developing countries and countries like India might not have trillions of dollars to change the change the scenario of climate change, the implications, but we do have resources to invest in knowledge and education. Government policies where a great impact can be made is entrepreneurship education. I completely agree with Navprabhat when he says that there are huge knowledge gaps, there are huge skill gaps. There is a need for urgent skilling in entrepreneurship, in the right kind of skilling. The government of India's skilling program has not worked for many reasons, because they have not been practical. They have not been practical to the needs of the changing needs of the time. When the skilling program started, it was not in tune with the requirement of the huge climate crisis that we see upon us. So there's a huge need for investment in entrepreneurship education, in the right kind of upskilling. China succeeded so much because they provided skill to workers. We need the right amount of skilling for workers. Even our SHG trainings and in our flagship programs for women, livelihood programs, there's a huge gap, because women, they don't know how to invest. They might have corpus funds with them, they might have put together their savings, but how do you invest? They do not have the right business skills, the entrepreneurship skills. So there's a huge need to bridge that gap. And the other structural change is required is the tax incentives. In India, you do not have a very defined tax incentive for green businesses. And there is no differentiating tax regime for green businesses and conventional businesses. So there's a huge structural change that is required there. And also climate financing.
Okay.
And climate financing, it it needs to be a patient finance, as he said. Green businesses take time, so the investors need to be patient.